IFI Audio IDSD Diablo 2, the successor to the original Diablo we reviewed on the channel last year. Hi, I'm ConvinceMeAudio, your host. Welcome to ConvinceMeAudio. This is my subjective opinion in regards to the Diablo 2 and the situation it fell into and what I think of the device at the end of the day. I have given you my objective performance, specification, testing in the real world, etc. We're not going to go over that again. I think there is something to dissect here, and we have to talk about it in detail. So, dispensing with the box over here. In the box we get the iTraveler case, the same as the first generation, entry top and bottom to connect your headphones and your source, though you won't be able to access the IFI once this is zipped up. Very compact, a very nice traveler case. These are the new fins for the IFI 2, which we're going to come to in a moment. This is the unit itself. Very different design from the previous. We get the second generation power supply with their noise cancelling technology, and it has been excellent. So this is the Diablo 2. As you can see, it's the same footprint as the original Diablo, but the sides of the unit have been wedged out, and all of these rails serve a purpose. One, for heat. Two, to put this into desktop mode by using these fins, and they've been working really well for me when I've been using it at the desk. So you slot them in like so, depending on where you want the fin to actually be and how well splayed out you want the unit to be. There we go, it slides into place like that, and then we take the other one. There's two wedge design and two straight design. The wedge design is to give it that slight lift, which is basically how I had it at the desk while I was testing this unit, and then there we go. So like that, by placing these second sliders here, it fits very nicely in the unit like that, and supports it like so at the desk if it's stationary, elevating it for heat dissipation. Let's do a quick tour around the unit as well. Now this is where all the upgrades have happened, and I am so thankful for it, starting with the back of the unit. Bluetooth implementation, aptX lossless, the same as the IFI GoPods, review here, check that out. 24192 with comparable devices, fantastic, and it's a fantastic implementation of Bluetooth here. The range has been as good as Apple products. I've been quite surprised actually, because my house is a Victorian house with Victorian brick, and signal almost never passes through, and I've had no issues here, even with two walls in the way, and that's quite special. Then we have the 4.4 balanced out. This is to take the DAC out into another amplifier if you wish, but you can't use it as a pre. Remember that, just line out. Then 3.5 in. This is to take another DAC into the unit or optical in, which I've been using with the LG C2 monitor back there. It's been working really well. Then dual USB-C, oh thank God, science for that. One for power, one for data. No more monstrosity of USB-A of yesteryear, thank you so much, very much needed. This button here changes between USB and Bluetooth. Unfortunately, it doesn't change between USB, Bluetooth, optical, cycling the way a Chord Hugo 2 does. The USB overrides everything, and optical just connects after that. But if you could cycle through it, maybe they can fix it in a software update. I really would appreciate it. That would be a much better implementation. Spinning the unit around. Okay, so we have 6.3 single-ended, 4.4 balanced termination. Not quite sure if this unit is balanced through and through. Some people say it is, and other measurements and things have been done beyond. And they say it's not, but it's there. The pamphlet's down below if you want to dive into it. Hey presto, you got 4.4 at least for your IEMs. Then we have XMEMS 500 volt bias for the new drivers from MEMS. Unfortunately, I did not have any headphones apart from some of the demo drivers I was given at CanJam London 2022. Thank you, Michael, I do appreciate it. Unfortunately, they had damaged over the years. They were just 3D printed, so I couldn't test the MEMS drivers, but if I do, I will do a real review for you guys later. Then we have the low, mid, and super high gain for headphones, IEMs, etc. Same pot as previously, very loose. I wish they had changed this as well. I like the feel of spoon in treacle and honey. No, this just yoinks very quickly. I've actually had the unit change volume when I've not locked it. This is a lock button randomly without any effort whatsoever. So I'm glad this lock-in mechanism is there. Otherwise, it would have been a nightmare. I think it might be even looser than the original. So yeah, lock-in mechanism here, very, very much necessary. Something else, another introduction to this line, which wasn't here previously, IEM match. This is crucial. This has been absolutely crucial because I've been able to go from the Ambientacoustics MAD24 at 2.3 ohms, 112 dB sensitivity, all the way up to LCD5 at 95 dB sensitivity and 20 ohms from memory. So this will match the IEMs, and if MAD24 doesn't hiss, nothing else will on the face of the earth. QDC Tigers didn't either. That's the unit. An upgrade in every way, yet it's a little bit heavier and it's a little bit more desktop leaning now, but I have been using this on the go as well. But with the implementation of these fins, it has been a fantastic desktop setup on my IEM test bench over there for my daily driver. And I've been using all of the headphones, as you will see in the sound section. So with that, let's jump to the specifications of this unit. Before we jump into specific headphones and IEMs and performance and synergy, etc., how does the Diablo sound with a reference sounding driver, and what are its characteristics? It's a neutral, detail-focused Amp DAC combo. Definitely leaning towards the ever so slight bright category than dark, akin to the Astel & Kern CA1000T. The unit is taken everything from the original Diablo, review here, and refined it. The most prominent being a much blacker background that is actually audible, visible mentally. It's a cleaner sound with less harshness in the treble region. Definitely a more articulate sound. I think the new Burr Brown chips they're using, or the new filters, have definitely played a big role here. It's more incisive, punchy, and sub-bass digs nice and low, but so did the original Diablo with comparable equipment and headphones. But the nature of the treble region and that black background gives this the leg up over the original. It's more refined, more texturally rich, and more tactile than the original Diablo. But the house sound characteristic is now leaning towards the Go Pods than the original OG Diablo line of equipment. They have definitely changed the house sound a little bit. We are now approaching that black background, more refined sound characteristic. So it has been an upgrade definitely across the board. With the implementation of IEM match, you can really tailor sensitive headphones or IEMs to the use case of the device and get a more cleaner sound per driver. So you will not use IEM match for every headphone or every IEM. In fact, you will mix and match on a regular basis. You will mix and match the low to the mid gain as well, in combination with the IEM match on a regular basis too. I never ever used the turbo mode in Diablo 1. I don't like it in Diablo 2 just the same, and I don't like it in the Astel & Kern CA1000T either, because distortion is very audible. Very, very audible across the board on all devices that have this turbo mode thing. I don't like it. There's a specific reason why all of these scary headphones are out when the Diablo 2 is on the table, which is a portable office desktop device. These new fin integrations have been fantastic to actually give this a touch of that desktop feel and a slight angle and lift, etc., dissipating heat simultaneously. Let's start with one of my favorite headphones at the moment, the LCD5. It's back for the re-review. It's driven very, very well, but you do need to actually put it on the mid gain. Like I stated, I do not like the turbo mode of this DAC or of the previous DAC amp combo. I don't like it. I think there is far too much distortion, and at around 1 o'clock, so about somewhere there, the unit does tend to shut down because it's overpowered, and it does the same thing again for the Hifiman Susvaras. But incidentally, you can get to a louder volume on mid gain with a cleaner sound and more sound pressure level without that trigger happening, which I find utterly baffling. The LCD5 has an intimate stage. Obviously, Diablo 2 provides that pitch black background in this price category, but punch is there, dynamics is there, and I genuinely think if all you have is the money for the headphones, any one of these, Caldera, Stealth, though this one is the hardest to drive, I'm going to come to this one momentarily, I don't think you need to worry too much if you have a Diablo 2 at hand and all of your effort is spending money on your headphones. The best pairing and synergy has been the Caldera. These are the stock pads, but I've actually been more enamored with the cowhides, the thin ones, and it sounds not like a ZMF. So it's providing the sort of mid-range that an HD800S has, which is clear, clean, and crystalline. Very good punch, and definitely sub-bass digs low enough. They drive all of these headphones, bar these two, to a fantastic level. I don't feel as though that dynamics is suffering. Vocals is excellent. The black background is prominent. It's a clean sound. Stage is good. It's not overly wide. It's pretty good. Though it's highly dynamic, vocals tend to be able to come forward towards you and away, such as, for example, Norah Jones, or the track Come Away With Me is recorded at a very close stage setting, and it's just mixed that way, so you feel as though you are face to face with her. But if you're taking, for example, a Billie Eilish track, it comes even closer, almost ASMR levels. Either with LCD5 or Caldera's, vocals is gorgeous, highly textured, very well enunciated. I don't feel as though there's a harsh element to the sound, though the Diablo 2, like the Diablo 1, is more detail focused, so it's leaning slightly towards that treble region with a touch of spice. But definitely distortion sonically is lower than the original, so therefore I feel as though the treble region is more articulate, the bass region is more textured and digs low. But most of all, though it does provide a similar sound characteristic, it's cleaner, but the highlight of the situation is the black background. It's definitely providing something that the other unit did not do. This is more genuinely approaching that sort of Spring 3 black background, and I can't give a higher praise than that. Susvaras on moderate levels, volume, so around 70, 74 dB, 75 dB, is clean, it's punchy, sub-bass digs low. You get elements of Susvara, so you get the speed, the transparency, and the resolvability. You do not get full Susvara like on AIC10 Riviera or Lampezzetta, for example, but if you only own this and you've put all your money into Susvaras, I think you can get away with it for a year at least, easily. It provides enough volume, enough punch, and definitely not dirty in the grainy category where you feel as though that it's suffering too much. No, it's not quite full Susvaras, but it's a good enough experience. Incidentally, which I can't believe I'm saying this when Susvara's on the table, the DCA Stealth is a different story. It powers it okay, but I'm only gonna say okay. I'm not even gonna say good. The low end, I don't think for some reason, because this is 23 ohm, there's enough current there. It definitely pushes all of its performance and what it's capable of into the treble and mid-range. So therefore, the lower region tend to be a bit more weak versus something, for example, like the next category up, which is the Hugo 2 and To Go. That with Stealth is absolutely exceptional. Check out the Stealth review, you'll see what I mean. But predominantly LCD5 and Calderas, these have been my two beasts for this Diablo. Genuinely, it's been fantastic. Excellent punch, dynamic range, transparency, vocal presentation, a touch of spice in the treble region, but excellent across the board. I can't complain for this category. I would rather pick this Diablo 2 to power all of these headphones than any top-in stack or SMSL stack below $1,000 any day, every day. And yet I can take this to the office with me. It's not even competition for me. Even though some of those say 6 watts and this can only do, as we stated, 1 watt, 1.5 watt or whatever the hell it is. It's a battery powered device, don't expect too much. So without a doubt, for technicality and technical performance, Diablo 2 is a step up from Diablo 1, and its synergy and range is better than Diablo 1, especially for all of these headphones. I did not have the Stealth in at the time. This is the latest addition to the CMA family. The rest have all been here, coming in and out of the office, obviously. How does the Diablo 2 fare against its competition? In the upper category, does it approach some of these other units we have on the table? This is the Astel & Kern CA1000T with tube implementation. Line the screen down like that. This one is the Chord Hugo 2 and To Go. Special thank you to both Chord and Astel & Kern for sending both units in for review. So I say it's more closer to this unit, the CA1000T, than it is to the Chord Hugo 2 and To Go. The Diablo 2 and the T on my right are both on opposite ends of the spectrum to each other, though their technicality can trade blows. The Diablo 2 is a more brighter sounding Amp DAC combo. The Astel & Kern is more of a pitch black background and darker sounding unit. With a tube implementation, you can go from tube to hybrid to complete solid state. In solid state form, even then, is a blacker sounding unit. Does it sound as clean as the Diablo 2? I think they trade blows. I think on op-amp based mode, yes, and I think on tube mode, not quite. Obviously tube adds its own distortion, but euphonic distortion, obviously. So bear that in mind. But when we jump up to the Hugo 2 and To Go, this is the next category, true next category in every way. Stage, separation, layering, punch, realism, timbre, organic characteristics. Yeah, but this is 3 times the price, so bear that in mind. This is £1,000 more expensive and quite a lot bigger, and definitely a desktop thing. This one is, when you take off the fins like this, it's definitely more a portable use case scenario, but this one is a streamer, player, etc. So their functionality does not matter in this comparison. Only sound-wise. I think low end in the sub-bass category, the Astel & Kern might take it over the Diablo, but Diablo is very clear, clean, and very, very detailed, giving a nice black background, genuinely. But all of these units, all 3 of them, do the black background thing very well, especially Hugo 2 on the To Go. Without the to-go, not really, but with the to-go, it's exceptional, like outstanding. So the fact that this is standing up to this £2,300 category is exceptional, it's commendable, genuinely. And I say Bluetooth implementation in the Diablo using the aptX lossless is definitely better. Volume pot and stuff, that's a hardware issue. We're not going to discuss that. That's going to be in the tier review itself. But yes, so I would say sound quality wise, these two trade blows, this one is a major step ahead, obviously. What are the caveats of the Diablo 2? And especially what are the caveats versus Diablo 1? It's a little bit bigger and heavier, so bear that in mind, but it has these fins now to use it as a proper desktop setup. You win some, you lose some. Second of all, the pot, if we don't count the lock-in mechanism, is very, very loose. It's just no resistance whatsoever. And that scares me a little bit. Though with the IEM match and the lock-in mechanism, you can bypass these problems, but I want that treacle feeling volume pot, hopefully for Diablo 3. Thirdly, we no longer get a 4.4 to 2-pin XLR cable in the traveler pouch like we did previously to put the DAC into just DAC mode and into another amplifier. I missed that cable. I think it was a good cable, but we do get the second generation power supply with the noise cancelling technology in there now. To be fair, originally we got a good power supply too, so I'm kind of missing that. We do get optical adapters, 3.5 to 6.3, etc. But that cable, because this is so much more expensive than the original, I think should have remained in the case, definitely. In regards to the device, I think for me, everything about it has been an upgrade, genuinely. I don't have problems with the device itself, bar the pot. I want it to be a bit stiffer. But those are my caveats for this, because it's a little bit more expensive. But it has improved across the board. This is how you make a generational leap in regards to what people were asking for. You win some. Here, I think you win more than you lose, but you win some, you lose some. This is my subjective opinion in regards to the Diablo 2 and the situation it fell into and what I think of the device at the end of the day. I have given you my objective performance specification testing in the real world, etc. We're not going to go over that again. I think there is something to dissect here, and we have to talk about it in detail. I gave an analogy in my private Telegram chat prior to the review, stating you can say you've run 5 miles in 10 minutes. You can even show data for every mile you've ran and the times that you took and show it in a graph and put it together and show a narrative. But that is not the whole picture. Neither is it completely inaccurate. If you were to dig a little deeper, you'd realize that the 10-minute time frame for that 5-mile run was not a consistent thing. Yes, the distances had been run, but they were on separate days and with large rests in between. Does this mean you can run 5 miles in 10 minutes? In one sense of the word, yes. Because you might have to travel that distance for some specific reason. But there is a world standard that we all, as an athlete, bodybuilder, personal trainer, etc., for the last decade, we follow by. This is why we have competitions, and timing is the same for everybody. It has to be what everybody understands. Running start to finish, finishing the journey in that time, the same as everyone else. I felt as though this was a disservice to the unit, and because it had happened before and I brought it up in the previous Diablo review, this was deliberately done the same way again after the debacle we went through with the first Diablo. And I think this is a detriment, and it has done damage, not only to IFI, but to this device, because every time I bring it up in the community, that is all that gets talked about, and it's overshadowed this amazing unit. And there was absolutely no need, because I think that was trying to state something. I think that was trying to advertise something for a specific purpose, and I don't like it. I think it done damage to this unit. So if I was to offer any advice, we live in a very small community when it comes to hi-fi, and testing gets done. It's not just one thing and everybody believes it. I don't think this was a wise move, and it's going to take some effort building up the trust again. I do love IFI products, but every time over the last couple of months things get mentioned about IFI, it's always down to, is it really? Are these measurements this? Nothing about the device itself. I don't like this. Do I think the Diablo 2 is a good device? I think it's an excellent device. And I think, just imagine IFI coming out with the numbers and saying, yeah, the device can do about 1 watt for 32 ohms. And then some other people in our community measures it and it actually does 1.5, 1.7. Can you imagine the feeling towards IFI at that point if they undersold it? And it was the community that oversold it because it did better. It would have been more humble, and I think it would have made this unit soar. Because it's genuinely better, like we have discussed in this review objectively throughout the review. It's better in every way. And this is how you make a generational leap. So I hope with the next unit and every other device, genuine care gets taken in how things are advertised. Until the next one. Peace.